Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT no government license, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is bipcot.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. We're coming on Friday. I don't know, because football is importantest.
Hey, man, it's the oldest rivalry in professional football.
It practically is the oldest rivalry in professional sports.
Yeah, I'm not even necessarily a fan of the Packers. Like, I got some Aaron Rodgers love because same community college and all that good stuff. But even I'm hyped for Bears Packers in December.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at Lambeau. Right? I mean, I've been to Bears Packers at Lambeau in December. It's cold. It's miserable.
God, I hope so.
Fucking blast.
I hope there's like 4 inches of snow on the field at halftime, and it just.
Sunday, I don't know, because what's really weird is it's snowing here right now, and it's snowing pretty good. But come Wednesday, it's supposed to shoot up to like 64 and rain.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because Wisconsin.
Looks like the forecast for Sunday night is mostly clear.
No.
With temperatures right around 30 degrees and southwest winds. Yep.
Icy field with wind. Nice.
Yep. Winds from 9 to 11 miles an hour with gusts as high as 23.
Which is gentler wind than we're getting right now, along with all this snow at 35 miles an hour.
We about an hour ago, we just got home from Sparta, which Andrew knows exactly where that is. And that's normally about a 40-minute drive. No, it was an hour and 30-minute drive tonight.
Yeah, I'm down a vehicle too. I don't even have 4-wheel drive right now because I managed to kill a yellow top battery because I'm an idiot. So
we were in the car.
It's terrible here. It's like 46 and clear.
Andrew, we were in the Impala, not my truck. The Impala.
Oh, I bet that was entertaining.
It actually held to the road pretty well. Just the fact that it doesn't presently have a front sway bar made things a little more interesting.
Well, I imagine. See, I thankfully on the back of the car, even though it's rear-wheel drive, I have really, really nice Goodyear tires. They're the weather readies.
Yep.
So they're, pretty much the best tires I've ever found for a vehicle ever.
We were
incredible.
We were talking about taking the truck, but the truck doesn't necessarily have the greatest tires on it right now, even though it has almost 400 pounds of sand in the back.
Either way, you guys are still having a better day than our homies at Biting the Bullet podcast, who had their ID zucked.
Yep, it got nuked, man. Big F. Big F.
Big F for Biting the Bullet. I am rocking the patch on their behalf tonight. They are up and running again. They are at Biting the Bullet pod. What is the URL on that one for you? The URL is... Oh, yeah, it's Biting the Bullet pod. They're back up on Instagram, so big shout out to the boys.
Yeah, it's got to suck. Thankfully, we don't have a whole lot of social media. So
I think they were like 12,000 something on the big one, and it was their original account too, like from when they started the podcast.
Oh, the OG got nuked.
The OG account.
Damn.
So
ouch.
They went. They are not happy campers.
I can imagine not. That would piss me right the fuck off. That'd be like that would be like Wolf getting nuked.
Oh, which is like 58,000 now or something like that.
Yeah, that would hurt.
That's coming up on 10 years. March will be 10 years I've been doing that stupid fucking page. Like I was doing that page when it was still like the Wild West. You know, like I think I ran it to like 22,000 in the first 2 years. Which that was unless you're paying them money, there's no way you're going to do that now.
Yeah, no. That's one of the things I miss about being on Facebook was I miss adminning Wolf. That was fun, but especially starting the little wars with the neocons who'd show up and think we were all one of them and then realize we are not.
Yeah, he's referencing my my page on Facebook, A Wolf in a Sheeple's World. Also on Telegram. Just saying, it's also on Telegram. But I started that in 2012. I was still like the militant, not like militant constitutionalist. I won't say neocon, but I was a staunch militant constitutionalist, and I would say things like only taxpayers should vote.
You ever do that though? Like that's one of the things I don't miss about not being on. Facebook.
The Facebook memories.
Yeah, seeing Facebook memories that where you were like a neocon kind of thing, and like looking back at myself and being like, "Oh, I'm so cringe. I was so fucking cringe."
I was so bad. Oh, I felt so bad, and I was just like, I was one of those like 2012, like voting for the Libertarian Party was taking away a vote for XYZ and yeah. I never voted for a bill. Like I never voted for like taxes or any of that other bullshit. I never voted for any of that. So I can say that I never voted for any of that, but I did. I was a Rocky Good, Goode. He was the Constitutionalist Party in 2012. I did support him.
I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
And by 2014, I was out of that shit. I was like, Jesus Christ, no, fuck this.
Yeah, 2014 was the last one I voted in.
Oh, I only voted in 2012.
Literally the only time I have ever actually voted.
Wait, I take that back. I did vote for the Gavin Newsom recall.
Okay. Well, I mean, but that one's acceptable. That's acceptable.
It's Gavin Newsom.
That would be like if they would have succeeded in recalling Tony Evers, Andrew and I probably would have lined up for that one.
Oh yeah, I would have voted. Yeah, that would have been like, I would have volunteered at the polls for that shit. Like, fuck Tony the Tyrant so hard.
Yeah, no, fuck those guys.
You guys, your patches are making me feel like the odd man out here. So, I got my Succeed or Die.
Oh, you got the new Spirit of Resistance.
Yes, and
that's right. You got the SOR package.
Yes, and I also got I have one of these now.
Ah, there you go.
I need one of those.
Isn't that such a beautiful patch?
It is a really good looking patch. I also got that one.
I got that one. I got that one. Biting the bullet is Spirit of Resistance, and then the Come and Take it is Spirit of Resistance also.
Well, the obviously the red or the Blackbeard thing is kind of a big thing for me. I got the wall. I got obviously my display picture is always
that's the Zero, right?
Yep, the Zero Foxtrot one. But since you guys are all rocking one of those, I guess I got another one that I can go with here.
Which one's that one?
The Come and Take It with an RPG 7 on it.
Yeah. That's a Spirit of Resistance.
Also a Spirit of Resistance one. I do have right here. I have my
shit. Yep.
Yeah, we are unapologetic patch simps.
Oh man, I found out that
we got John. We got our homie John Boogaloo Jack. We got him on the patch train now. He got some pop-ins patches. He got the Save Our Children wood chipper patch, and then the Ed and Eddie Boogaloo patch. That one.
I was just laughing about that at work tonight. Actually, the wood chipper patch. I was just laughing about wood chipper go burr because I was talking about the Atlantic thing that happened today. Yeah, that one right there.
No.
Because anybody who's maybe not on Twitter probably hasn't seen it, but the Atlantic, the Ghislaine Maxwell trial is going on right now. And the Atlantic, during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, posted an article claiming that everyone who is up in arms about pedos and this big pedophile web is making it up and it's not real. In the middle of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, right? And they claim that, and then immediately a photo comes out of the owner of the Atlantic sitting in
Steve Jobs' widow.
Yep, Steve Jobs' widow sitting in a beach chair next to who but Ghislaine Maxwell. What a complete coincidence, unrelated to their releasing that article, huh?
Yeah. No. Just
that's awesome.
Complete coincidence. But overshadowed.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Speak.
I was just gonna say, I mean, of course somebody like that's going to claim that the pedophile shit's overblown because they see themselves in everything.
You see that they Freedom of Information Act, I think they released like part of the records of the people that flew on the Lolita Express, and like 90% of the names were redacted.
Yeah, almost the entire thing was redacted.
Yep.
Don't forget, Bill Clinton appears on it 26 times. Bill Gates appears multiple times. Donald Trump multiple times.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton appears multiple times. Who else is on there? There's a ton of big names that we know are on there.
Yeah, that's YB. That's Uper Booger, I think is what he calls himself. He's in the Biting the Bullet Discord chat also.
Okay.
I made a point to tag him and tell him what we were coming on tonight. So what's up, Uper? So
hey.
Oh, I see it's just raining down in Boscobel. What a bunch of jerks.
Just raining, yeah.
We Andrew's got damn near a blizzard over by him, and where I'm at, it's we have rain, or we have freezing rain and snow at the same time.
We have next week we have rain like Tuesday through Friday, like 5 days of rain, which is fucking just finally, right? Finally having rain. Like Tahoe has no snow.
Yeah.
Like our snowpack right now is like 20%. So,
well, I was gonna say, compared to how it was when I was a kid. I mean, when I was a kid, we'd already have 2 feet of snow on the ground.
Denver got snow for the first time this year the other day, and it's like 3 weeks to the day past the old record.
Huh.
So that Pineapple Express just fucking people up. Oh. Let's see. You guys want to go somewhere good or start somewhere weird? Because I want to start with this other article I did not tell you guys about.
I was gonna say, I assume there's one of those.
Yes, no. Hold on.
Let me get my guns ready.
No. It's nothing like that. It's not an angry one.
That's a first.
I'm just gonna read the headline. Investing in Lego sets more profitable than gold.
I have a buddy who I used to work with who collects Legos and stuff, and has been saying this for a few years, that it's actually a better investment.
The ROE, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or the ROI, return on investment. But purchasing Legos could be a good way to construct a sound investment portfolio, a new study suggests. There could be profitable gains made from investing in, quote, more unusual goods whose purchase might seem less serious, such as Lego sets and Barbie dolls, researchers at the Higher School of Economics in Russia found in a study published last Friday. Quote, "We are used to thinking that people buy such items as jewelry, antiques, and artwork as investments," says Victoria, whose last name I'm not going to try to pronounce because my tongue does not move in that direction. She's the DOBRYNSKAYA.
Nope.
No. Okay.
I thought about it. I'm like, nope, not gonna
Nope.
try.
Associate
I'm
Professor
good.
of Economic Science at HSE University. Quote, "However, there are other options such as collectible toys. Tens of thousands of deals are made on a secondary Lego market. Even taking into account the small price of most sets, this is a huge market that is not well known by traditional investors."
Well, yeah, traditional investors don't think about
Well, not
hard
only that, but
goods
like
usually.
when you talk about hard goods, right? When you talk about gold, jewelry, painting, real estate, you're talking to people that have the money to buy gold, jewelry,
Right.
paintings, real estate,
Yeah.
right? When you talk
Mhm.
about Lego sets, you're talking to about a quote a way larger market,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, there's only so many billionaires on this planet. There's only so many people that can afford a Rembrandt or a Tiffany diamond, right? There's a hell of a lot more people that can afford a Lego set, and especially a collectible Lego set like the Millennium Falcon or some other cool nerdy space out
Oh yeah,
Lego
well,
sets.
and dude,
I
people
remember.
sleep on toys values all the time, right? Like they ignore that. Like I had at one point like Funko Pops. Like I collected a ton of
Mhm.
Funko Pops and a ton of limited edition ones. I sold my legit headless Ned Funko Pop, right, where that it was magnetic and the head would come off and like his eyes were half closed. It was all
Game,
bloody and stuff.
Game of Thrones. Okay, yeah.
Yep, Game of Thrones, and it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. You could only get it there, and I had one, and they're super limited edition. I bought it for $20. I sold it for $900.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So
Right.
like the ROI
Yeah.
on that is immense.
Yeah. The researchers looked at the price of 2,322 Lego sets from 1987 2015. The database only included primary sales and online auctions, and the sets had to be new and unopened. The most expensive sets in the data set included the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star 2, and the Taj Mahal. The study
I'd
found that
pay a
economic
lot for
factors
money of
such as
those.
having limited production run, being a collector special edition, and market scarcity boosted product prices over the years.
Well, yeah,
Well,
market
Okay,
scarcity. I mean, who's letting a Millennium
Yeah.
Falcon Lego set
Hold on,
go?
hold
You
on.
know what I mean?
This-
Like, if
this
I
is-
got one,
this
I
is-
ain't going anywhere.
This is the big number. Hold on. It's 2 paragraphs, 2 real quick paragraphs. The researchers estimated that the average return on a Lego set tends to be 10 to 11% annually. That is a greater return than those seen on stocks, bonds, or gold. The value has little to no affiliation with the stock market, meaning that it would hold value during a recession. For comparison, gold valuation has grown over the last 30 years and has shifted between 4.86 and 7.85% in return value.
You know, this shit is why economics is this secretly sexy science.
Right?
Like, it's like Freakonomics. Remember Freakonomics, Super Freakonomics, how great those books are, and like their comparisons and things like where they found that a pimp actually offers a prostitute greater economic value than a realtor does, somebody who's selling a home, like stuff like that. That's this kind of shit right here is why economics is sexy, and you got to encourage kids to start getting into economics because man, you start learning shit like this, and it's just cool.
Not only that, when you're talking about things like this, you're talking about impulse buying, right? You're talking about appealing. You're not necessarily appealing to the person's market portfolio. You're appealing to their desires.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And when you can sell someone that serotonin, right? I mean, you can get a higher return on investment if that's what you're selling them. You're selling them the dream. You're selling them the idea. Like you're not selling them an investment.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Like you don't want ideally if you want that rapid shot up in value, you don't want something that people are going to hem and haw over and like debate like, okay, but in 20 years am I really going to be? You don't want that. You want that thing where they're like, but that's so cool, and then they buy it. which has kind of been the market for collector items forever. Like that's what has made collector items important, is that it appeals to people with the "that's so cool" idea. Like I'm still willing to pay $60 for the NCA or NCEA or whatever Protectorate, right? The ship from Galaxy Quest, the greatest Star Trek movie ever made. And that toy originally sold for like $15. I will pay $60 on eBay for that, no problem, because I really freaking want one.
It's just,
well, I mean, look at it like stuff that I get into. My son and I, we play Magic the Gathering. And
there you go.
There's a card out there, the Black Lotus from Alpha, that just recently sold at auction. There was one sold for $1.5 million.
So you're kidding me?
No.
Son of a bit. Do you know how many valuable cards I had that?
Yeah, I know.
I was going through some of my old stuff the other day that I have sealed up, and I found that I could pay my house off if I sold it all at auction.
I was a baseball card collector growing up. I lost all of them. I lost all of them in the moves. But I had all the rookie cards. I had all the guys. I had the Bonds rookies. I had the Alex Rodriguez rookies. I had
Yeah, I mean, like, no, I had bought, because a few years ago, back when I had some money, a buddy of mine had closed his card shop. And he'd been running it for like a good 10 years by then, and built up a bunch of stuff and things that he hadn't put out. No, he I forget what he called it, but it was down in down south of here a ways. But he sold me a ton of his cards, and he's like, look, I got all these boxes, like retail boxes, sitting around that I never had a chance to put out or go through or anything else. Some of them are kind of old.
If you had like an 89 Topps unopened box set, put that in a safe deposit box.
Oh, I mean, this is Magic the Gathering. So this is all Magic cards. And he's like, dude, I got all these boxes. He's like, I don't have anywhere to store them. So how much will you give me for them? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you think's fair? Because I don't know. I don't play Magic. I have no idea. And he's like, I don't know. Like would 15 grand work for like all of it? And I'm like, sure. So I gave him 15 grand and started going through it. And me and a couple of friends sat around for like a week and a half, just opening and sorting cards. And they're like, do you know what you have here? Like, do you have any idea? I'm like, why would I have any idea? I have no idea what and even back then I wound up my ROI, I wound up making 40 grand on selling those cards.
Yeah.
But if I had apparently held on to them.
Yeah, they're like if you had any of the Power Nines, though, every last one of those right now is like $7,000 each.
Yeah.
At a minimum. That's the smallest, that's the cheapest one of the Power Nines.
Like, I mean,
God damn it.
The only thing I can think of that has a better ROI on this is like crypto. And that fluctuates so bad that it's Russian roulette.
Oh right. Yeah. I mean, I'm still like, because when I almost got into Bitcoin, I had $5,000. I was going to buy a Bitcoin because a Bitcoin was about $4,900 at the time. I was going to buy one and sit on it. If I had actually followed through and sold it when it was at $20,000, that's still 4 times what I had into it coming back out of it. And if I'd sat on it to, just a few months ago, when it was at like 55K.
Here.
I mean,
man, I could have bought a new truck.
I mean, the research estimates that the average return on a Lego set to be 10 to 11% annually.
Dude, you can't even.
That's every single year, 10 to 11%. So like,
you can't even get a CD that has that kind of guarantee.
No, CDs nowadays.
What?
3? I think on a 20-year CD, the best you can get is 2.5.
Yeah, like it's nothing now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Gold doesn't have that return. Silver doesn't have that return. Diamonds don't have that kind of return.
Andrew, Bitcoin right now is at 48,195.
See, imagine if I had actually held on to that one Bitcoin until now, and then so I could have just gone to a dealership and just bought a new truck. Gone, oh shit, the battery in my truck is dead. I guess I'll go buy a new truck.
That's like 44 grand. What's that, like 3 boxes of 5.56 or 3 boxes of 300 blackout.
That's a box of 300 blackout. If you can find it.
Yeah.
I saw some on the shelf today, Andrew.
Really?
Yep.
What did I see? I saw. I sent a message into the group chat last Saturday. I went into the Sports Indoor House on the way to the grocery store, and they had like Fiocchi 230 45 ACP, and it was like $55 or something like that.
Yeah. For antiquated crap pistol.
Yeah.
That was so much fun on the Phoenix post the other day.
The Phoenix
flaming
Phoenix
the
with the post about the that dude that was buying the 40 and then the dude getting cucked by his wife with somebody who fires 9 or 10 millimeter.
Yep.
And all these FUDs coming out like, oh, but my 40, your 40's slow in weeks. Shut the fuck up. Bunch of fucking FUDs.
Stop believing the FBI. Speaking of FBI, that's a good place to transition. We can do that.
Hey, look at that.
Hey, look at that. Almost
FBI,
like we meant to do that.
Hell no. To even suggest that.
I said almost.
Almost. All right. FBI may shut down police use of force database due to, drumroll, lack of police participation.
What a surprise! What? You mean cops don't want to tell the FBI about all the people that they murder on a day-to-day basis? What?
I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked. I'm going to go take my kids' Legos apart and tape the boxes.
Where'd my Millennium Falcon go? Well, you see that new car out there? See that Ferrari sitting right there? Let me explain to you something.
Yeah.
It's about priorities, kid.
You still got the memories. That's all that matters. FBI may shut down police use of force database due to lack of police participation. In an attempt to create a definitive database on how often police officers use force on citizens, the FBI launched the National Use of Force Data Collection Program in 2019, imploring police departments to submit details on every incident, not just fatal shootings. But the failure of police and federal agencies to send their data to the FBI puts the program in jeopardy of being shut down next year without ever releasing a single statistic. A new report by the Government Accountability Office says.
I just...
Trap. Is that Trapper? Is that you? The program was required to obtain data representing 60% of law enforcement officers to meet the standard of quality set by the Office of Management and Budget, or else to stop the effort by the end of 2022.
So they were required to get 60%, but they couldn't compel participation.
No.
No.
Okay. In 2019, the data covered 44% of local, state, federal, and tribal officers, and last year the total increased to 55%, according to the program's website. So far this year, the data represents just 57% of all officers, the FBI said Wednesday.
You know, it's almost like they don't want to meet that 60% goal because then this will fucking go away.
It's just like it's like with the Black Lives Matter defund the police movement.
Yeah.
Right. There's all this lip service paid to it. Right. All these politicians paid, defund the police. We need protectors, not thugs. We need community organizers, not police officers.
Social workers.
We need social workers,
Mm-hmm.
and all this other stuff. And it's like 8 months later, or no, it's December now, so it's like 11 months later. And Chicago, Seattle, Portland, New York, California, they're all like, okay, our police need more money now.
Yeah, they're like, did we say defund? We meant refund, as in give them more funds. That's
cut
what
the
we
budget.
said.
They cut the budget short term, and then they're just going to then come back and quadruple whatever it was they had in the first.
Yeah,
fucking place.
it was they
But
dropped
even
the prices long enough for everybody to be looking the other direction, and then
Yep.
poof.
Yep, enough.
It was
to
a
get the Biden,
psyop.
enough to get the Biden vote.
Mm-hmm.
And now, not only are they refunding the police, but they're like asking for bond measures and talking about increasing taxes in order to fund the new police. Yeah, y'all got played.
I actually just heard that even in my little small town where they're talking about, because right now we have 3 full-time officers, including the police chief. And
3
they want
full-time officers, including the police chief.
Yes.
Yeah, that isn't his local police department isn't even 1/3.
I have 168 on my local police department.
Well,
I don't actually
you got to
know.
remember,
and they have an MRAP and a Bearcat. And
there's an MRAP just up the road in the county seat. They have one for the county department. But here in my local, you got to remember, I live in a town of 13 to 1,500 people. And so the fact that we have 3 cops is actually kind of impressive.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to add a force.
Yeah, we have 100 cops here in La Crosse, plus a SWAT team with a Bearcat, and we're a city of 68,000 roughly.
I thought it went down to 54.
Yeah, I'm like 100. I'm like 150. I'm like 155, 160,000 now, and we have 168 officers. And granted,
so
I think like 6 of those are part time.
So you're more than double the size of La Crosse, but only have only a 60% larger
police force.
No, my friend's place in Wyoming. They live in central west Wyoming. They have 2 sheriffs. That's it.
2 for the whole county.
Yeah, for the whole county, I have 2 sheriffs.
See, now that's nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because even here in my town,
if they weren't at 7,000 feet and didn't have 8 months of winter.
I know, like that just complete lack of cops sounds awful fucking nice.
I would put up with it. Just
saying. I have no problem with 8 months of winter, but I kind of want to move to Alaska. So
no to Alaska. Sorry.
Yeah, I watched. I follow some people from Alaska on TikTok, and they were talking about having to have groceries sent in on the airplane taxis.
Yep.
And it cost them 98 cents per pound to ship things on the air taxis.
That is brutal.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. There's a reason why greenhouses and internal grows and all that kind of stuff is very large, especially out in the bush in Alaska, because
with that 20 hours of sun a day, that's where they have record vegetable growth too.
I've always kind of wondered too, like, couldn't you, like, if you had a bunch of money, right, for startup capital, like, let's say you win the lottery or something, you have $300 million, wouldn't you be able to, like, set up a serious money making operation with just out kind of in this middle of Alaska, just building a huge greenhouse and like regularly shipping things in bulk, and then just distributing that out from there so that they didn't have to ship it in as far? I imagine you'd probably make a killing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Especially if you in that immediate area, if you were to say run it by snowmobile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if I had the money, I would buy a big piece of land in western Montana and open a small gun store and have a huge compound in the woods. Andrew, would you like to help me run my gun store?
Yeah, I want to move to. I'm gonna want to move to Western Montana in the worst fucking way. Like, it's either Western Montana, or I've had my eye on Cody, Wyoming for a really long time, just outside of Cody.
You know what? Mm-hmm. Are we done with this article? Like, we don't have to say anything about it, right?
I don't think we. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious.
Pretty
like,
self-explanatory.
What direction we're going there.
All right,
Like,
let's.
oh, what a shock! The cops didn't want to say anything. Oh, you know what? Leave it to government. By the way, leave it to government to come up with a problem that will go away if they ignore it for themselves.
Yes.
Well, I was. Yeah.
Oh. We You want to get on this Redoubt article? Since we're talking about Montana now.
Hell yeah!
The article is.
We're full of sick news.
Yeah, this is the meat and potatoes article today, but yeah, the Redoubt. Andrew and I we've talked about it before, and yeah, this is written on the Billings Gazette, billingsgazette.com. Yeah, just jump into it, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
This is by Justin Franz, the Montana Free Press, picked up by the Montana Gazette or the Billings Gazette. Montana's real estate market has been burning red hot for well over a year. Some real estate agents have dubbed it a land grab as out-of-state buyers snap up properties, sending home prices into astronomical heights, particularly in Missoula, Bozeman, and Flathead Valley.
Hey, Bozeman, I love that area.
Yeah, I've never been. But even in Montana's more remote corners, property is quickly selling. Gail Inger, a longtime broker in Thompson Falls, said that a few years ago, Sanders County, a remote county of about 11,400 residents pinned against the Idaho border, would have dozens of properties for sale at a given time. Now there might be fewer than 12. God, I want to live in a county with 11,000 people.
Yeah, can you imagine how nice that would be?
I was going to say, I don't think my county that I live in now has 11,000 people.
My county has like 1.2 million.
See, that just sounds gross.
I probably have 11,400 people within a mile of me.
It's so peoply.
Way too peoply.
Ugh.
And when
outside, there were people. Would not recommend.
Yeah. 0 out of 10. Would not
0 out of
recommend.
10.
And when a property is listed, it goes quickly. In 2019, a property would usually be on the market for more than 100 days before being sold. In October 21, the average was 39 days on the market, according to the Montana Regional MLS. For years, Eager said many of the people who moved to Sanders County were retirees looking for a quieter place to enjoy their golden years. But another type of buyer has emerged from California, Washington, and elsewhere to live in a more conservative community, that is strategic relocation.
It's
that matches their political values. Eager said the type of buyer has increased considerably since the election of President Joe Biden.
What a coincidence. It is completely unrelated in any way, shape, or form. Let's go, Brandon.
Quote, they want to be among like-minded people, she said. Yeah, that's the point of strategic relocation.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
The firm Iger works for doesn't specifically market to buyers motivated by political correctness. Its website highlights the specific wonders, recreational opportunities, and quietude.
Quietude?
So that's
quietness.
The word. That's the word. That's a word that they used.
That's not a word, I'm pretty sure.
No, I've never heard that word either.
I have Google web search. Dictionary. Quietude, a state of stillness, calmness, and quiet in a person or place.
When the hell was that added? Probably like a year ago or two.
Let's see. It is a late 16th century from the French quietude or medieval Latin quietudo. So it's
really?
Yes. Quietude.
Weird.
Quietude. Quietude.
That's like an actual.
It's an actual word according to
all right
dictionaries.
Fine. Pretty sure it's still made up and that they're also making up the origin, but all right. Fine.
I can't argue.
Andrew, you're a history buff, not a linguistics expert.
No, I mean I got a passion for linguistics, but like that.
There could have been better words used.
Yes.
Yeah, there. I feel like you could have been just ever so slightly more verbose there and actually pulled off.
Solitude,
tranquility.
Ooh, there's a good word. Its websites highlight the scenic wonders, recreational opportunities, and quietude on offer in that part of the state more than anything. But other real estate agents are catering to precisely the conservative demographic, specifically the people looking to relocate what has been dubbed the American Redoubt. The term American Redoubt was coined by novelist and survivalist blogger James Wesley Rawls about a decade ago, but the idea of conservative-leaning separatist movement in inland Northwest is older than that. He wrote the books. Oh, they're all the way over there. The Survivor series. It's a pretty good one, but more than a century ago, residents of eastern Washington and northern Idaho felt ignored by their state leaders further west, and south clamored for their own state. Right, so this is Jefferson, but just a little bit northeast. In recent years, some of those continuing movements have given propose to new names like Lincoln and Liberty. Over the last decade, Republicans in eastern Washington have put forth bills almost annually calling for the citizens on the dry side of the Cascades to secede. That is Liberty, eastern Washington. Yes. Yep. There's also been movements for Greater Idaho. That is a big one lately. I think 5 counties in Oregon have voted to have memorandums in regards to joining Idaho. Like Idaho hasn't put it up for a vote, but there's several counties in Oregon that have voted on it. There's also some of those counties also voted for to secede and to create Jefferson with Northern California. Yeah.
So on the same topic, I've always wondered this. Let's say those 5 counties in Oregon, they pass their resolutions. Idaho passes a bill to annex those into part of their state. Could we legitimately see a full-blown war between states?
Not necessarily. For it to happen, under the legal terms, the Oregon legislator would have to vote on letting them go, and the Idaho legislator would have to vote on approving them. So it would literally take an act of God for Oregon to let those people go.
Well, there is an alternative.
They can also say "fuck you, no."
Was getting at.
Yes. They can also say "fuck you, no."
There is an alternative,
right there. Yeah, over that way.
Fuck you, no.
Fuck you, no.
Yeah. Andrew held it up earlier. I have it up there. Secede or die. Yes. But while the politically fringe backers of Lincoln or Liberty want to create a state that they can call their own, the American Redoubt concept is more about the migration of people who believe the inland Northwest might provide a safe haven for Christian-leaning or conservative-leaning Christians if society falls apart in the rest of the country.
I actually know very few people who want to go to the Redoubt that actually are super conservative Christian leaning.
Well,
I think the majority of them are just very liberty leaning that I know of.
Yes, a lot of them are liberty leaning. But even with liberty leaning, like you have some Christian values there, right? Some more traditional values. Socially traditional.
Well, yeah, I would concur with that. Yeah, right? I would concur with that.
They're not liberal woke. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. So,
I mean, I can see that. I mean, it's, like we, especially because Jason, I know you and I both have this patch, and we know what that's inspired by. So
keep your side, yes. Takes place in Montana.
Yep.
The game does.
Hope County. I keep eyeballing a t-shirt that says "Visit Fabulous Hope County, Montana" on it, and it's a Far Cry shirt. I really want it in the worst way. Although what I want worse is I want one of the t-shirts from the bar in town in Far Cry, the Spread Eagle, with that logo on it. I really want one, but no one makes one.
Start making one. Start a Teespring.
I don't have artistic talent to do that.
You don't need artistic talent.
You don't need artistic talent, Andrew. I know a few. You and I both know a few people who have the artistic talent. No. You have them design it.
Dave can do a whole Far Cry series.
Oh, dude, you know how cool that would be?
Well,
I'd be broke.
An entire
I want a boomer patch.
Yeah, like a 5 or 6 patch
Yeah,
series based on Far Cry 5 would be amazing.
Yes.
I would buy
Have you guys
all of
played
them.
6 yet?
No.
I haven't even played the one that's technically the epilogue to Far Cry 5.
It's not as good.
I've heard that. I've heard it's not as good, and it didn't look quite as good, but
fucking zombies, really.
Really? It's got zombies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a nuclear war. I get it, but
yeah. But in a 2011 post on his website, cerebralblog.com, Rawls wrote that the American Redoubt consists of Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, collectively considered appealing for the combination of conservative politics and a fruitful landscape of natural resources.
Yep. It's some of the most beautiful country in the world, too.
Yes, it is.
It's fantastic. Rawls writes that the American Redoubt is not about segregating races, but separating religions, apparently distancing himself from the movements like the Pioneer Little Europe, which about a decade ago encouraged white nationalists to move into the Flathead Valley. That's where you get people like Richard Spencer, and all that other bullshit.
Fuck white supremacists, you piles of shit.
Hey, they can go up against the wall with the tankies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yep. Quote, people will brand me as a religious separatist. So be it. I'm a separatist, but on religious lines, not radical ones.
Well, you have every fucking right, and it's entirely reasonable that the things that you believe are a reason for you to separate from other people.
Well, it's not just.
Isn't that why people came to this fucking continent in the first goddamn place?
Yes.
It's not just that. It's the culture, right? I'm not talking that ethno-state bullshit. Like the values that you hold, the morals that you expel, the way that you teach your children, what you teach your children, how you teach your children, the way you want to live your life, and the people that you want to be around. That's why people go to the American Redoubt.
Yeah.
Right. You don't see conservatives moving to San Francisco.
No, and you don't see generally anyway. You don't see extremely left-leaning, hardcore. The cat eye glass wearing, purple faux hawked, Triggly puffs moving out to the ultra conservative, rural areas of the country either.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely would never see a Triggly puff in, like, I don't know, Butte.
Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah, and Cody. Although apparently, Danny, I have heard from Danny that apparently the Cody Firearms Museum occasionally does get snowflakes anyway in, and it's like it's a firearms museum, and you showed up to the firearms museum, and then we're horrified that you saw a bunch of firearms in the museum. Like you paid to get in there. I don't understand.
Hey.
Just don't get it.
New. It's nothing new.
What was the one they There was one from Yellowstone. It was some Japanese tourist that went through and they rated Yellowstone like a 1 star, and it was because they couldn't get close enough to the animals to pet them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I've seen reviews like that from like Karens from the US complaining. Well, the animals were just running wild.
Go ahead. Go pick up that bear cub. I dare you.
Yeah. Go pet the wolf. It's friendly.
Go try to hug that buffalo or that bison that's walking through town.
I'm sure it'll work well for you.
There was one about a decade ago. It was a story that the Japanese tourists went to Yellowstone and they put honey on their daughter's head because they wanted to get a picture of a bear licking the honey.
How could that go wrong?
It went wrong how you think it went wrong.
Yeah, I imagine it did.
Yeah, that's predictable.
That did not go wrong.
That's I think as a person, who's a parent, oh God, that's so terrible for them. However, as a member of the human race, which I would like to see continue, I rejoice at the
them taken
hopeful
out of the
end.
pool.
Yeah, hopeful end of that bloodline, because it obviously needed to end.
Hashtag make Darwin great again.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like a lot of people, they hear us saying this stuff like, oh yeah, no, go pet that bear. No, go hang out with that entire pack of wolves. No, it'll be great. Go stand immediately next to the geyser that's about to erupt. Like those things. And they go, oh, that's so terrible. Well, if you are dumb enough to actually do those, you deserve what you get. And that is simply Darwinism happening.
When I was out there as a kid, we had
like
a group
curling irons with the for external use only stickers on them.
Yes.
Let it happen. Please let
that happen.
Just let it happen.
No, when I was out in Yellowstone as a kid, we were out there and this tour bus rolls up full of Japanese. And one of them goes, I wonder how hot that water is. And he sticks his hand in the hot spring.
About I believe it's like 280 degrees to 300 degrees Fahrenheit on average.
Somewhere in there. Not to mention a lot of it's, acidic.
Yep.
Highly acidic, boiling hot.
His puppers are fucking gorgeous.
I believe it.
I'll have to grab some pictures off of Facebook.
And I'm sure gigantic.
Or I think Trap. I think you're in the Telegram chat too. The AnFam Telegram chat. Drop a few pictures for the boys.
Yes, let those down there because I'm kind of curious. I know my ex brother-in-law's dog Thor was half wolf.
Yeah.
And he was very, very pretty. He also went insane. So
yes,
in
preparation checklist, Rawls recommends that new arrivals to the American Redoubt sell or donate extravaganzas like jewelry and televisions, research the geography and the microclimates of their new settlement, and quote, bring their guns.
You're gonna need them. There's bears out there.
In 2011 post, which has been updated multiple times, Rawls wrote that he was inspired to encourage quote liberty-minded people to move to the inland and Northwest by Pastor Chuck Baldwin, who moved from Florida to the Flathead Valley in 2010 and started the Liberty Fellowship, a congregation that frequently mixes politics and religion.
Who would do that?
That guy's he's a really good speaker. I've heard him speak a few times. And this is probably like one of the greatest thumbs up that you can give somebody. Baldwin has been labeled a leader of the quote anti-government patriot movement by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Dude, I would have that like printed and framed professionally
on your business card. On your business card.
like rated at because anybody that I want to do business with would look at that and be like, "Oh my god, you are amazing." Yeah. At that point, that's definitely.
I know, Rika. He's not anti-government. That's just what the Southern Poverty Law Center says, and according to the Southern Poverty Law Center,
but the fact that
anybody to the right of liberal is anti-government.
Yeah, praise the Lord. Pass the ammunition.
Keep your rifle by your side. And again, September 2000, Baldwin wrote, quote, we are going to Montana to fight. The mountain states might just become the Alamo of the 21st century with hopefully much better results. But if not, I would rather die fighting for the freedom with liberty-loving patriots by my side than be shuttled off to a FEMA camp.
Yeah, I mean,
how long have we been saying
reasonable.
that, especially between Andrew and I? How long have Andrew and I been saying shit like that, even on this show? It's like we've both resigned ourselves to the likelihood that we're going to die on a pile of hot brass.
As long as I die in a pile of hot brass with my boots on, fuck it.
Yep. And Nigel, yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, my uncle and I are talking about going out for an elk hunt to the Bozeman, Montana area next year. And
that's in like what, October, right?
Yeah. And he's talking about, I'm going to bring my 454 Casull for the bears. I'm like, okay, I'll bring my 10 millimeter. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine.
What's the smallest caliber that is good for bears?
To hunt them? Depends on the bear species.
To save your life from a bear. 22.
That would be a 22. Just shoot your buddy in the 22. All you gotta do is outrun the guy I'm working with. That's it.
Yeah, I don't need to outrun the bear. I just need to outrun you.
Yes. Yep. Hell, in that case, this 17 HMR revolver would work just fine.
Bang. Ow! Man, now I'm
I
gonna walk with a limp.
I got a big stick. Just
Yeah. Yeah, all you gotta do is just sprain their ankle. And, man, why'd you do that? Oh, no reason. But I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Here, let me splint that ankle up for you quick. I'll see you down at the truck, okay?
Bye.
I'm hoping to avoid a replay of what happened last time my uncle and I went on an elk hunt.
What happened? Now you have to tell the story. You can't leave people.
Andrew knows this story.
The big crowd. What happened?
Right. So I was out and I shot one. It was a 100-yard shot, but it was like a 3-mile hike. And by the time I got there and started field dressing, all I could hear behind me was the grunt of an incoming big ass fucking brown bear.
Oh.
And as all I had in my hands was my knives, my survival knife and my gutting knife. I'm like, I'm screwed, but I'm gonna do whatever I can. Next thing I hear is boom, and I'm covered in bear blood. And my uncle standing back behind the bear with a smoking 45-70.
Don't worry, got him.
The first firearm I ever shot was a 45-70.
Dude, you know how bad I've been eyeballing.
I was 9.
Oof.
Yeah, it was Woodstock.
That probably felt great at 9 years old. I'm sure it was very controllable and comfortable. And I have been eyeballing, that 45-70 lever action that you can get with the nickel plating with the black furniture on it.
Henry or the
I think is it a Henry? I think it's a Henry.
Pretty sure that's a Henry.
Yeah, that's a Henry with the nice suppressor. The nice square suppressor. That is the sexiest fucking. I want one so bad.
My brother Nick has one in 44 mag.
The
tactical lever action.
Yeah, every single time I see one, I'm like, man, I'm not much of one for lever guns or manual actions, but I tell you what, that thing, oh yes, yes, I want it.
All right, I want to read these couple of paragraphs, and we'll be done with it. It's a long article. We're not even going to read half of it. But Todd Savage of Sandpoint, Idaho, based Black Rifle Real Estate, was willing to talk via email. Besides being a real estate agent licensed in Idaho and Montana, Savage calls himself a, quote, strategic relocation consultant who helps people interested in moving to the American Redoubt.
I want that job title.
Savage said his business has steadily increased over the last decade and has more than doubled over the last 2 years as a result of social and political unrest brought about in part by the COVID pandemic. Savage said he fields 30 to 50 inquiries a week about purchasing property in the American Redoubt and sometimes more depending on the news. Not everyone follows through and relocates, but some do. Quote, clients of both my consulting firm and real estate firm simply want freedom. They generally have the same belief that this country is now being destroyed from within and choose to flee to a state where they can be free and live their lives, homeschool their children, and not be disturbed. They believe that the leftist tyrants that have destroyed so many of the sanctuary cities/states have the same right to live in the crime-infested disparity they created. Leftists are not welcome in the American Redoubt. Hold on 1 second. One more paragraph. Savage signals his distaste for liberals on his website, noting that while his company claims to follow the Fair Housing Act guidelines, it does, however, quote, discriminate based upon political and moral beliefs. Snowflakes, liberals, socialists, Marxists, communists, and other tyrants that hate our constitutional republic, the Bill of Rights, and want to defend law enforcement or want to defund law enforcement are not willing to engage or are not allowed to engage in our services. The only snowflakes welcome here are from the clouds.
Well, that guy lost my business, but I mean, at the same time, I mean,
I would still allow him to help me find a place, and then that would be the end of it.
That'd be the end of it. But I mean, he's what I'm hearing here is
he's from California. He's from California. Just for the record.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like
I'm hearing from this description though is I'm hearing These are all people that just want to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah. Hold on. We didn't quite fit in with the changing landscape in California. Savage wrote in a 10-point reader in 2017 interview, quote, "We were libertarian Christians who homeschooled, refused to poison our children through vaccinations, owned evil black rifles, and supported what would one day be known as the Blue Lives Matter movement."
Oh, geez.
So
You
he's
almost
like
had me.
50.
You
He's like
almost
50-50.
had me.
Right?
Like you had me, and then you lost.
And then you left. Like I'd go to his barbecue, but like he's not part of my post SHTF survival team.
No,
Well, I mean, it's
I would
like,
put him in the acquaintance category.
Yeah,
but I would definitely not.
But you
when
guys
he's
definitely read this whole article because it is fantastic.
It's
and we are big fans of the American Redoubt area. Which is why we brought it up.
for sure. I mean, but this is kind of the same kind of thing as like Christian Carradine years ago was trying to promote the Citadel and the idea of the Citadel.
Mhm.
Of course, he's kind of a con man that didn't really go anywhere. But the idea was, you know, that you'd build a walled town that was easily defended and, you know, built out of concrete stuff and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and you get a bunch of people together, and it was basically an HOA, which allowed you to then discriminate against people who weren't going to necessarily like your values and whatever else. But unfortunately, that didn't go anywhere. If I ever win the lottery, man, though, we doing this. We're going to build a walled town in Western Montana, and it's going to be awesome. And it's going to have blackjack and hookers and guns. And it is going to be fantastic.
That is the cover photo of his website.
So, Andrew, if we build that walled town, once Derica gets to Mars, are we going to have like an express ship that takes off to land?
I mean,
at
ideally,
brothel?
So to flee the city and make your strategic relocation to a safe location in rural America.
Yes.
I don't know if I appreciate the weird capitalization there. It seems a little boomery, but well, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out later.
I mean, the problem is so many of these guys with their but we support the blue lives, motherfuckers. How screwed up are you that you don't understand?
Who do you think you're gonna have to protect yourself from when the economy collapses?
It's the goddamn cops. It's like the people who have a similar flag to what Chris has behind him, the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. But then
it's got the thin blue line shit on it.
Yeah, the blue line through the fucking snake, and it's like
I haven't seen that one, but that sounds hideous.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it, and it makes me laugh every time because I'm like, yeah, it kind of looks like it's been poisoned by something radioactive.
There's a guy that lives just down the road from me down here. He's got this yellow one. Then in the middle of it, in between there, he's got the blacked out American flag with the blue line running down the middle of it. And then on the other side, he's got the "Don't Tread on Me" flag with the thin blue line banner behind as the backdrop. It's like, Jesus Christ, how fucking confused are you?
Who is going to be doing the treading, you fucking idiot?
This is why I want to get a bunch of signs that look like the political signs that people stick in their front yards. So when I see shit like that, I can just drive by and stick one on the boulevard that says, "I like the taste of boot leather."
Like,
not kink shaming, but I mean there are
people, but
there are people. I understand that, but
I mean, if I'm just saying that if kiwi is your favorite snack, and I don't mean the fruit or the bird, if kiwi is your favorite snack, then maybe a "Don't Tread on Me" flag is not really your speed.
Yeah. All right.
They also have the come and take it, like, we're all rocking with a thin blue line on it, and I'm like, but that's
who's coming to take it.
Taking it.
There's another one that I saw not too long ago. It was the Gadsden with the blue line, but it was like half blue and half green, and the other half
green is for correctional officers.
In this particular case, it was for border control.
I will hand it. So my next door neighbor, I'll hand it to him. Right, the guy did have a Trump flag up, so points off. But he does have one of the black Gadsden flags up now.
Oh, which are beautiful.
Oh,
I love those ones.
It is a sexy looking flag. I ain't gonna lie. That's I kind of want one, but I keep threatening my Boog Unity flag. I keep threatening to go get a flagpole and plant that fucker and throw that flag up there too, right next to it, and just be like, "So,
hey, Andrew, I think Liz is a little bit behind on the feed.
Yeah, she just said, "Bet I can do it" in reference to the shirt idea. Or the
And she said she's got the print hookup.
So make sure you treat her extra nice.
Yeah.
So, but
good long beard ride.
Yeah, well, her and I are hanging out Saturday, so.
Yeah. Speaking of Liz, we can talk about Elisa. How about that? That's a transition.
Wow, you're reaching hard, but all right.
This is out of Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah. Albert Lee, restaurant owner, found guilty of violating the state COVID mandate.
That's not that far from Andrew.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, Albert Lee's, man, that is really not far from me.
The owner of a wine and beer bar, who openly flouted Governor Tim Walz's executive order to shut down last winter during the COVID-19 pandemic, was found guilty of 6 criminal misdemeanor counts Thursday by a Freeborn County jury.
I love the irony of the name. Yeah, the irony of the name of the county.
Hold on.
Freeborn.
A jury of 3 women and 3 men took only an hour of deliberation to convict Lisa Hansen, the 57-year-old bar owner, after a 3-day trial punctuated by Hansen's repeated attempts to argue that Walz's orders were unconstitutional. Because they are. Judge Joseph Budel followed the reading of the verdict with a scathing denunciation of Hansen's behavior, explaining why the governor's orders were legal. Quote, "You wanted to make money over the interest of public safety. You don't recognize the law. You don't think you are subjected to the law." He sentenced her to 90 days in jail, which began immediately, and a $1,000 fine, which is considerably more than what Albert Lee's city attorney Kelly Dawn Martinez, who prosecuted the case, had sought.
$1,000.
Yes. So I have an answer for this problem.
Asked to comment on the verdict, Hansen raised her fist and shouted, "Liberty and freedom," as she was led away by the sheriff's deputies.
Now, you're supposed to yell that as you go to your death.
Yes.
Not like you're supposed to fight, not just acquiesce and go to
which is why I bring up that other option.
There are alternatives.
Yes, and now we're being kicked off of YouTube.
We're being kicked off of everything.
We have been threatened to be kicked off of YouTube so many times that
you see Rumble sent a cease and desist letter to Odyssey because the Odyssey Twitter account said something negative about Rumble. Yeah.
Oh, suck it. Well, remember, didn't Rumble just get sold?
Rumble just got bought by somebody.
They just got bought by a venture capital firm.
Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me a lot.
And that was right after they got done buying Locals from Dave Rubin.
Oh, jeez. It just, these fucking people selling out and not.
Yeah. It's the dramatic end of a saga that began last December when Hansen publicly posted public announcements on her Facebook page encouraging people to visit her Interchange bar and restaurant in downtown Albert Lea, despite 2 executive orders by Walz prohibiting indoor dining at bars and restaurants over a 4-week period. After the warrant issued for her arrest, Hansen went into hiding. She was arrested several weeks later in Iowa, where she was staying at a motel. Her restaurant had been closed since February, and the city of Albert Lea decided earlier this year not to renew its lease, which will expire at the year's end. In the meantime, she was fined $9,000 in a case brought by Attorney General Keith Ellison, and fined another $18,000 in November for a connection with that case. So they essentially killed her business because of unconstitutional orders.
Yeah, I mean, and Albert Lee's only what, like 2.5 hours away from me? I think about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I guess that's sounds about right.
Yeah, and that's that side of the river, man. That's why I ain't going that way. I ain't going to that side of the river. You see this shit? Like, I want nothing to do with fucking Minnesota.
I mean, we might have Tony the Tyrant, but Tony the Tyrant's been put in his place more than once.
Yeah.
See, my thing is without those blue lines, without those jackboots, without those police, that's an unenforceable law.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Without any
people
law,
willing to commit violence, any law is just a wish list.
Yeah, any law without teeth is no law at all. And the people who give it teeth are the people who are willing to put their boots on your neck, the people who are willing to draw weapons on you, the people who are willing to turn on their red and blue lights on their cars behind you. It's the cops. Without cops, without the FBI, without the ATF, the DEA, without soldiers, without them, politicians are just angry idiots yelling psychopathically in their ivory towers.
Yes. It's funny you should say that, because I have an article about that very thing. That without people willing to do violence on the government's behalf, the government would have no power.
See, again, we're just we're doing all
on
kinds of seguis.
Hold on. Treasure hunter Tommy Thompson jailed 6 years, fined $2.1 million for not saying where loot is.
Fuck you.
No, hold on. He wasn't sentenced to 6 years. It's his 6th year being held on a contempt charge because he would not reveal where some coins were.
6 years?
Hold on. He would not say where coins are that the state believes he knows. Like, he says he's told them everything, but the state says no. You know where they are. So he's been in jail for 6 years because he won't give the government an answer to something he says he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. So the difference between the mob interrogating someone and the government is
the government can get away with indefinite confinement.
Yes. A former treasure hunter has been in jail for almost 6 years after refusing to reveal the location of 500 missing coins made from gold discovered in a sunken ship. Tommy Thompson was held on contempt of court in December 15, 2015 for not disclosing the whereabouts of the coins and has been behind bars ever since. The research scientist has been racking up $1,000 of fines for every day he has been imprisoned.
Good Christ.
6 years of those fines would put the current total around $2.1 million. Thompson discovered the historic shipwreck of this SS Central America, also known as the Ship of Gold, in 1988. The ship from the gold rush area was carrying thousands of pounds of gold when it sank off the coast of South Carolina in 1857 during a hurricane.
Thompson, I'm a huge treasure hunter buff. I love this story. Like, I used to have, until my ex stole it, I used to actually have a coin from the Atocha, the wreck of the Atocha, on a necklace that was worth a ridiculous amount of money. I used to have that. I love this stuff, right? Like, the Curse of Oak Island is like one of the coolest fucking things ever for me. Like, this is really cool. This ship has been legendary, or had been legendary, for years and years and years and years, right? Everyone talked about it. Everyone knew that this thing was carrying enormous amounts of gold. It gets shipwrecked. It gets shipwrecked in pirate territory. This thing is super valuable, and it's possibly sitting in international waters. And if it is, and he finds it, whoever finds it gets the gold.
Yes. The gold was carrying, or the ship was carrying so much gold that when it went down, it actually helped contributed to the stock market panic of 1857.
Yep. So,
like, it had so much gold that it affected the economy.
Yeah, this this thing is a legendary ship on the level of the Atocha, right? And if you don't know about the Atocha, I encourage you to look it up because it's a really cool story. But it's a really cool story of finding it and all of that stuff. But this ship was like one of those holy grails, right? Like if you can figure out where the fuck this thing is, you can be comfortable for the rest of your life if it's sitting in international waters. Because if it's sitting in American waters, then American maritime law governs it. But if it's in international waters, then standard salvage rights apply, which means because it's not a military craft, who finds it keeps it.
The ship was located by the Columbus American Discovery Group of Ohio, led by Tommy Thompson. The remote using an ROV went down September 11, 1988. Significant amounts of gold and artifacts were recovered and brought to the surface by another ROV built specifically for the recovery. The total value of the recovered gold was estimated at $100 to $150 million. A recovered gold ingot weighing 80 pounds.
Ooh.
Sold for a record $8 million and was recognized as the most valuable piece of currency in the world at the time. Okay, now this is where it gets weird. 39 insurance companies filed suit, claiming that because they paid damages in the 19th century for the lost gold, they had a right to it. The team that found it argued that because the gold had been abandoned after a legal battle, 92% of the gold was awarded to the Discovery team in 1996. Thompson was sued in 2005 by several of the investors who had provided the $12.5 million in financing, and in 2006 by several members of the crew over the lack of returns for the respective investments. In 2009 he had an offshore account in the Cook Islands with $4.16 million. Thompson went into hiding in 2012. A receiver was appointed to take over Thompson's companies and, if possible, salvage more gold from the wreck in order to recover money for Thompson's various creditors.
Yeah, so what's going on, to anybody who's not up on maritime salvage law and things like I am, because again, I'm really into treasure hunting. Basically, so if the ship is in national waters, right, it's governed by national laws, and American law says that there is no statute of limitations on a payout from an insurance company. So if the insurance company pays out to the owner of that ship the value of the cargo, that cargo becomes the property of the insurance company because they effectively bought it, right? That's what it says. That's also what their contract in the insurance contract essentially says. And there's no statute of limitations on that. It doesn't matter if it's 100 years, 300 years, 500 years, doesn't matter. It still applies. Okay. If it's in international waters, all bets are off. But it's in national waters. It's close enough to the American coast to be considered American waters, which means it's governed by American laws. And because of that, the insurance technically owns it. Regardless of how long it's been sitting there, they actually own it. But what he argued is, but they didn't go and find it and recover it for so long. It should be considered abandoned.
Abandoned, yeah.
Which means I get it. And the judge was like, well, yes to both of you. And gave them the majority of it. But he hadn't recovered the majority of the cargo because this thing was carrying that much fucking gold. Like the amount of gold the Central America was
9.1 tons.
Yeah,
of gold.
There you go. Eesh. The amount of gold this ship was carrying blows your mind. It is like several elephants worth of solid fucking 24 karat gold on this ship. It is ridiculous how much was loaded on here.
At the time of her sinking, Central America carried gold that valued at approximately $8 million. That was at the time. In 2021, value that is $765 million.
It is.
Okay, so hang on. What was the total amount?
Current or
no,
at the time of the sinking?
The weight.
Tonnage.
9.1 tons.
I don't know where they're getting their math from, but at the current value of dollar or ounce to the U.S. dollar, 1 ounce of gold is $1,776.14.
Yeah.
Multiply that by
How many-
16. That doesn't their math doesn't add up right.
Well, it's Wikipedia, so
Yeah.
it's not always.
Well, hang on. So you're talking
1776.14.
about
It doesn't matter.
16 times 2,000 pounds.
So, either way, Thompson, 69, still refuses to cooperate with authorities, attempting to locate the coins despite an investor's lawsuit and a federal court order. According to court records, prosecutors and the judge held him in contempt. Quote, he can create a patent for a submarine, but he can't remember where he put the loot. That is according to federal judge Marbley, who said during a hearing in 2017.
See, the thing is, it's not like you find it, okay? It's not like you find a shipwreck and then you memorize the exact latitude and longitude of where that wreck is. That's in records.
Yes.
You're not memorizing that number. That's in records.
No, but
records that could have been subpoenaed and probably were. And he said everything that he knew. And they went to that location and they couldn't find it because, and I realize this might shock some people, the ocean sands move.
It happens.
Especially in South Carolina, where they get constant hurricanes that move things. Chances are probably really good, actually. Right before he found that in 88, just a few years prior, that was under maybe 7 feet of sand. And then a hurricane moved it, and then suddenly it's revealed, and you can find it. But in a few years, you can't anymore. That's why we've learned now that if you're going to recover a bunch of shipwreck shit, you're going to recover it all right fucking now when you find it, because it might not be there again.
Yep. Thompson pleaded guilty in April of 2015 for his failure to appear for a 2012 hearing and was sentenced to 2 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. But Thompson's criminal sentence has been delayed until the issues of the gold coins is resolved.
So essentially, because he might not legitimately know where the fuck these coins are, he could feasibly spend the rest of his life in jail.
For not telling them something he
doesn't know. And then they're going to leave the corpse there for 2 more years so he can finish the sentence. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's insane that he is in jail for refusing to divulge something that he has already divulged.
Yeah, he's already told them everything he can possibly tell them. It's the sands of the ocean are fickle things, especially in coastal ocean. They move a lot. Now, deep ocean, not so much. That's why we could find Ballard while he was Ballard was actually secretly looking on behalf of the CIA for an lost American submarine or Soviet submarine. I don't remember which one of the two. He was looking for a lost submarine. In any case, didn't
the U.S. military lose nukes off the coast of South Carolina at one point also?
Yes.
There's
several broken arrows.
Mountains of North Carolina, and
they actually lost one on top of America, a couple on top of America, one of which destroyed somebody's house. Thankfully, it didn't detonate. Hooray. 2 of the 3 fail-safes on that one, by the way, failed. Had the third one failed, a nuclear weapon would have detonated in the United States. Oopsie doodles.
Yeah. Move bombing on steroids.
Yeah, but the except it was poor fucking sharecroppers that would have been nuked. But the and possibly Washington D.C. if I recall. But the issue there is that when you're talking about the coastal region of the United States, especially the East Coast, the sands move a lot. And so what you could find today within 3 months could be invisible because so much of the sand has moved. He's already told them everything he can possibly tell them. I found it here, right here, wherever that data says that data point is, right there. That is where you will find it. And they went there and went, but it's just sand. Well, yeah, because it's buried now, fuckers. You're going to have to wait until it moves again. and then it'll still be sitting there. All right. But you gotta wait. Like this is what I mean. How many hurricanes?
It might take you 300 years, but it's there. I promise.
Yeah. How many hurricanes have happened since 1988?
In that area,
in that area. So of course there's a bunch of fucking sand on top of it.
Yeah, Sandy went right up the coast, and that was that moved a lot of sand.
What is he supposed to do? And they're just going to hold him because they're convinced, because the government is convinced that he knows more. How is this in the spirit of the Fourth and Fifth Amendments?
It's not, but since when does the government give a fuck about it?
The Eighth Amendment, right? Cruelty.
I thought cruel and unusual punishment is it's I don't remember the Constitution. It's that irrelevant to me.
Yeah, the Sixth is the jury. 5 is self-incrimination. 4 is search and seizure. I think the Eighth
Amendment. Yep.
Eighth. Yeah. The Fourth, Fifth, Eighth. Like, how is this in the spirit of any of these that he's being indefinitely detained for information that they're convinced he has?
And then even if he does tell them, they're still keeping him in a cage for another 2 years.
This is Jesus fucking. Don't worry though, it's a justice system. It's all fair. Justice is blind.
All right.
And the only reason the government cares this much is because they want their cut.
Yes, that's all it is. It's a money grab.
Speaking of justice system, UK opens door to Assange extradition to the US on spying charges.
Oh, when I saw this morning, I wanted to throw things, and
yes,
I was reminded of why I hate the British.
A British appellate court.
You needed a reminder?
Yeah. A British appellate court opened the door Friday for Julian Assange to be extradited to the United States on spying charges by overturning the lower court decision that the WikiLeaks founder's mental health was too fragile to withstand incarceration in America. The High Court in London ruled that the U.S. assurances about Assange detention received after the lower court decision were enough to guarantee he would be treated humanely. Assange's lawyer said they would ask for an appeal.
If Assange is actually extradited to the United States, I'd be willing to bet he never makes it to the United States.
Well, no, he'll make it to the United States, and they will put him on trial, and they will railroad him, and then they will give him a ridiculous sentence, like 300 years or some bullshit, double life sentence plus 40, like they gave Ross.
Yep.
Because they want to make an example out of him.
Yeah, they want to scare everybody.
They want to say, whistleblowers, look at this.
Yep.
No. But in the ruling, the High Court directed the lower court judge to send an extradition request to the Homeland or Home Security Priti Patel, Priti Patel.
I'm guessing.
Right, it's two words. Priti.
Yeah. I think that's a name.
Yeah.
Homeland Secretary Priti Patel.
I'm looking that up. Priti Patel is the Homeland Secretary of the United Kingdom. She's kind of cute, big cheekbones.
Now you're gonna make me look
who would make the final decision on whether to send Assange to the U.S. for trial. Quote, there's no reason why this court should accept the assurances as meaning what they say, a 2-judge panel for the High Court said in its ruling. So I hope they don't send them. I hope he stays over there because the U.S. is not friendly to dissidents. And they would throw him in a cage. They would throw him in a hole like they did Ross.
Yeah,
I mean, they're like, oh, here's, whistleblowers beware.
Yep, and once he lands in the United States, he will never see the light of day again.
No.
Yeah,
he will be paraded on the news to trial. He will be paraded and berated in the court. And then he will be sentenced by a hand-picked jury and a hand-picked judge.
Yep.
Just like Ross was. And he will be given a ridiculous sentence, double life sentence plus 40 years or something, like they gave Ross. And they're going to put him away, and they're going to be like,
they'll just throw him in a hole and forget that he exists.
Until he dies.
And then it'll be, we put this dangerous spy behind bars, and now he's dead.
Yep.
And that'll be the last anybody hears of him.
Oh yeah, it's again. I can't imagine why I don't like the British.
Or they call him a terrorist and someone will fucking Gitmo and waterboard him.
That would be
Oh,
the
yeah.
other thing. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised if he never.
That
made
was
it.
that was scared the shit out of me.
What'll happen is they're going to use the guise of national security. So they're going to make it a closed door trial. They're going to cut everybody off. They're going to no media, no nothing at all. You're probably not even going to see him arrive in the United States.
No,
and
they'll land him on some military base where they can control who can see what.
Yeah, they're probably going to land him somewhere. My guess is like they're going to land him somewhere on the East Coast, right? One of the military bases there's plenty. They're going to land him there. They're going to probably whisk him away.
Put him in Leavenworth, probably.
Yeah, they're going to whisk him away to Leavenworth. That's where I was going. They're going to whisk him away. He's going to go to Leavenworth. You're not going to hear from him. It's going to be a closed trial. You're not going to even get any artwork, nothing. No public is going to be allowed in, nothing else. It's going to be a fucking witch hunt from get-go to end.
Yep.
And they're going to fucking effectively burn him at the stake. They're going to throw him into prison. You're never going to hear from him again. That's going to be it.
Yep. And they're going to parade around this idea that the leaks contributed to U.S. military deaths or some bullshit like that.
Oh
right?
Yeah, because they're going to
that's how they're going to kill the name, right? That's what they did to Ross with the alleged murder for hire plot that was, dismissed with prejudice, right? That's what they tried to kill his name by equating it with something, terrible. So, but and then again, the flip side of that is that they can't really bring that up, or they can't really put him on trial in the U.S. without also dragging Chelsea Manning into it. And Chelsea Manning is the darling of the left. They don't want to burn her.
Nope.
So,
I mean, unfortunately though, like it would be an interesting trial to watch, but it's not a trial that we're going to get to watch. Nobody is going to see it.
We're not being able to watch the Jaswell, whatever the fuck Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah.
It's going to be the same sort of thing. You're going to have a few pictures, and you're going to have someone live tweeting it, and that's it. That's all the information you're going to get.
Well, if they do a national security trial, like if it's that, you won't even get live tweets.
Would they put them before the FISA court, or would they just put?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or
I'm saying FISA,
or would it be a military tribunal? Because
no, it would be FISA.
No, it'd be FISA. It would be a FISA court, and you're going to wind up with nobody from the public is allowed in. We're going to hear absolutely nothing, and it's just going to simply disappear into a dark hole. And then suddenly you're going to be told, "Oh, Assange has been sentenced to
the FISA
for espionage."
The FISA court is so top secret that the general public is not allowed to know who argues before it, who sits on it, who makes the declarations. All that you're allowed to know is the outcomes, if it's in the public favor.
If you want to see the most blatant example of how America is a lot like Nazi Germany, the FISA court is the thing. Or how America is like the Soviet Union, the FISA court is the thing.
The FISA court is the one that ruled on the constitutionality of the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Right, not the Supreme Court,
because it was declared a national
court.
security national security agenda item. So they took it out of the court system that it should have been going through.
Yep.
Because the FISA court operates outside of the actual judiciary.
Well, and the reason for that is that with the Patriot Act is because the Patriot Act authorizes certain things that had to be argued for or against that because they're used for SIGINT, so signal intelligence, like intercepting electronic communications, intercepting voice communications electronically, things like that, and they're used for human intelligence gathering. Because of those, they said, well, we can't have because the enemy watches the news too. We can't have the enemy knowing how we're doing this. So because we're arguing for and against, we can't have that out in the open. Now, that's ostensibly the reason. However, there's no actual reason that stuff needed to be brought up in the court, because it wasn't actually in the law. The law itself could have simply been talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
But the prosecutor, the people in favor of, wanted to bring this stuff up specifically so that they can move it into FISA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Since WikiLeaks began publishing classified documents more than a decade ago, Assange has become a lightning rod for both criticism and veneration. Some see him as a dangerous secret spiller who endangered the lives of informers and others who helped in the U.S. war zones. Others say WikiLeaks has publicized official malfeasance that the government wanted to keep secret.
Yeah.
Both views have been debated as Assange has sought his freedom and to evade Americans.
Well, yeah, that's exactly the
The U.S. has asked British authorities to extradite Assange so he can stand trial on 17 charges of espionage and 1 charge of computer misuse leaked to WikiLeaks publication of thousands of leaked military and diplomatic documents.
Although, despite all this,
17 charges of espionage.
Yeah, that's a death sentence too. I mean that it is. It's one of the few things the federal courts
could we
still put you to death over.
Could we get a federal execution?
Yeah, you legitimately actually could out of this get a federal execution.
I believe the federal for espionage, the law for espionage actually indicates that the means of execution is to be firing squad.
Let's see.
No, I think the means of execution can still be whatever the current thing is, because it's still governed by
in 1917, soon after the U.S. formally entered World War I, Congress passed the Espionage Act. The law prohibited the sharing of information intended to disrupt U.S. military interests and aid in its enemies, punishable by 20 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. So 19 times 20 is what, 280 years? Something like that, 380 years.
I mean, which is, considering in how poor health he already is,
it's a death sentence either way.
Yeah, it's still going to be a death sentence. But they're probably going to actually put him to death, and the reason they're going to do that is because you're either going to have to put him into isolation to keep him from talking to people, which is going to get argued in courts outside of the FISA courts, which is going to cause media sensations and him to possibly get a platform and blah, 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 which they're not going to allow. Or you're going to have to put him in Gen Pop and just give him that ability to talk to media, to do these things. And they also don't want that.
Oh, they're not.
So
they're not going to let him. They're not let him.
Yeah. So they have to kill him. They're either going to Epstein him, which is my guess.
He is in poor health. So we can have a medical emergency.
Well, it wouldn't take anything for him to put just a little bit of arsenic or something in his food.
They don't have to do that. They just have to refuse his medications.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they can refuse his medication if they really want to. I mean, arsenic, vaporized arsenic will replicate a massive heart attack. And if you don't bother to do any kind of major toxicology analysis, you'll never notice it.
Yeah.
That's something that I think the majority of the American public learned from the Iceman. Actually.
He's 50 years old. So I know he's not in the best of health, but 50 years old.
Well, he hasn't been, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like there's a lot of downsides to Assange, right? He's still a guy. He's, don't go all great man on him and pretend that he's perfect, because he's not. I mean, he's got a lot of shitty things about him, but what he did was so important, and important to the liberty movement, important to anybody who's anti-war, important to anybody who is anti-government in any way, shape, or form. And even people who are pro-government will want accountability in government. What he did was so important.
Yeah. Assange's fiancée, Stella Morris, called Friday's decision, quote, a grave miscarriage of justice that threatens the rights of journalists everywhere to do their job without fear of retaliation by the governments they don't like, or when they don't like what they publish.
Yeah, exactly.
What's actually really impressive is that a lot of other journalists, and generally I hate journalists, and I think we all do.
Yes.
A lot of other journalists have actually picked that up, what she said, and have been running with it and repeating it a lot.
I hope so.
Because they're also like, yeah. Even was it the Guardian? Even the Guardian has picked that up. Understandably so, because again, Citizen 4, right? They worked with Edward Snowden. They're also like, this is a serious problem, people.
Yes, it should be. It absolutely should be. And he should not be in jail for exposing fucking war crimes.
Which he fucking did. And I mean, and I still, part of me still looks at Collateral Murder and goes,
oh my God. That video was...
But it's war, and there's a bunch of people around with weapons up to a point in that video, right? Up to a point. I'm like, but there's a bunch of people around with weapons. But when they fire through the minivan, there's a line very obviously crossed there. And if you haven't watched it and you're thinking about it and you're even remotely squeamish or sensitive, don't watch it.
No.
It is that is raw war, and it is a bunch of people dying a very horrible death.
It is not beautiful.
And
to be perfectly honest, I understand that why the US government is trying to do what they're doing with Assange, but realistically, anybody who looks at this with an objective eye is going to go, there's no chance that he gets a fair trial. None.
Oh, no. No, it would... The justice system is fucked. No matter what side of the political spectrum you find yourself on, Democrat, Republican, whatever, you know that the justice system is fucked, right? That the government does terrible, terrible things to protect itself, right?
Yep. Every damn day.
Assange will never see a fair trial. Period. That's not even part of the discussion.
Well, and
we all know what it would be. It would be him. It would be getting absolutely railroaded, right? As I said, 20 years, 19 charges, 20 years. So he'd get like 300 years in prison, which is longer than Ross got. And they would lock him in a cage and just be done with him. Or they'd say he's a terrorist. They say he's a domestic terrorist. And they send him to fucking Gitmo and waterboard him to find the WikiLeaks keys.
And the funny thing is what I love about what Assange did, right? What I love about WikiLeaks the most is that he intentionally set it up so that whoever submitted data to him, even he could not possibly know who did it. So even if he is tortured, he cannot give them any information because there is no fucking way he could possibly know who had sent him that data.
Yeah. And again, like I said earlier, they can't put him on trial without bringing Chelsea Manning into it, right? And Chelsea Manning is one of the darlings of the left. So, again, it'd have to be like a secret. They have to be before FISA, or have to be a military tribunal, or something like that. Because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it in a public court, right? They're not going to have average Americans on the jury.
Right. Well, and the juries, I mean, we don't even truly understand how the FISA court works. Because it's private. Yeah. It's all top secret. And as far as we know, the jury is nothing but intel operatives. We have no idea. And that's intentional, right? That's because
if it's a military tribunal, then the jury is made up of military members.
Right, who are already going to be against Assange in general. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things that Assange has revealed that have made me very nervous.
Yes.
There are definitely things that made me very nervous. But
the flip side of that is make you nervous or not. The flip side of that is WikiLeaks has never had to retract anything for being false.
Well, not only that, but Assange straight up has said multiple times before his arrest that he got a lot of information that could have actually hurt people, individuals. And he was always very, very careful that anything that he put out publicly would not actually put anyone's individual life at risk.
No.
Yep. Now,
So
I want to
that's,
see,
like-
but I want to see if he does get convicted, or when he does get convicted, I want to see what happens with all that information. If there's just this massive dump.
I believe he said he has a dead man switch.
I hope he does.
A data dump. John McAfee also said he had one, and we haven't seen it.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet.
So,
unless it's connected to Assange's, it could just be one massive
That would be
fucking
Zen.
just
hello
like
world.
just like a Vault 9 all over, or Vault 7, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Just a big old cable dump.
I just hope that any data dump that he has, if he has one, keeps true to that it's not about hurting individuals. It's not about hurting people.
What
that
if
it's
he has
about hurting the government that's
what
running
if he has
these people.
Epstein info?
You know how fucking
That would be
hilarious
awesome.
that would be.
That would be fucking great.
Oh my god, the unredacted travel logs, the unredacted
Dude,
phone book.
Or
so
even,
fucking amazing.
Oh.
What if he has not just the Epstein stuff, but the others that we don't know about?
What does Assange know about Hillary Clinton?
Like, he
You know,
has, like,
I know that was a
voicemails
meme when they-
between Epstein and Hillary Clinton, and he just
Oh,
drops
God.
those. Like, yeah, by the way,
Hey, watch this.
no, it's.
all right.
I mean, I
Or-
do though. As somebody who knows a lot of people who may or may not appear in a lot of those documents that he may or may not have, I really hope he really is, even with a document dump, that he's still truthful to that ideal that I don't want to hurt people. What I want to hurt is government. I want to hurt the machine that makes these people do these things. That's what I want to hurt.
Yeah, fuck the state. All right, let's get this last article. Violent threats prompt Illinois lawmaker to shelves plan to make unvaccinated pay healthcare costs.
Make politicians afraid again.
After receiving, quote, violent threats, a state rep from suburban Cook County won't pursue a proposal requiring unvaccinated Illinoisans to pay their own healthcare expenses, including hospital bills, out of pocket if they contract COVID-19.
What a shock that this asshat is from Cook fucking County.
State Representative Jonathan Carroll, who's a Democrat out of Northbrook, said in a statement Thursday that he decided not to pursue the legislation he filed earlier in the week because of the, quote, unintended divisive nature of the proposal.
Unintended my fucking ass.
He has since filed a motion with the clerk of the Illinois House to table the measure. He added that based on the feedback and further reflection of the legislation, quote, we need to heal as a country and work together on common solutions to put the pandemic behind us.
Translation, a whole bunch of fucking people threatened me, made me really scared because I'm a fucking tyrant, and so I'm going to go ahead and walk that
right
shit
here,
back.
motherfucker.
Quote,
right here.
Quote, since taking office, I've always tried to have civil discourse with those who have disagreed with me. However, violent threats made against me, my family, and my staff are reprehensible. I hope we can return to more positive discourse on public health, especially when it comes to this pandemic that has tired us all.
Reprehensible, but effective.
Very effective.
Hold on. All right, one more.
I am morally flexible enough to not even call it reprehensible. All right.
In an interview with the Sun Times, Carroll said that the violent threats from a, quote, bunch of different people included death threats and racial slurs, and mentioned Carroll's wife and children. Some even sent an email to Carroll's rabbi threatening the synagogue he attends. Carroll said he reported the threats to the Illinois State Police, who declined to comment.
Okay, well, the synagogue's off limits, man. Like, that's synagogue didn't do anything.
I agree.
But the fact that you
hold on. Quote, this is ridiculous, Carroll said. We just can't have a reasonable conversation anymore.
Your entire proposal is unfucking
We can't
reasonable,
have
you cockmonger.
conversations with people about these things. I've heard from responsible people that do disagree with my bill, and I appreciate them being responsible, and I appreciate them making their point. But if you want to go the route of calling people names and calling people like racial slurs and threatening them and things like that, it's impossible to have a conversation at this point.
You made it impossible. You made it impossible to have civil discourse when you start coming after people like this. This is on you.
Can't we just have a civil discourse about how I'm going to brutally oppress you under threat of repeated violence for your own personal medical decision?
That's
like this
that's exactly what this is. I was talking to our homie Dan earlier, and he said something to the effect of he became a dissident in this country, in this current society, by staying how he was.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what it is. These people, if you are the same person in 2021 as you were in 2019, you're a radical.
Yeah.
You're an extremist. You're a potential domestic violence extremist.
Potential, according to them, you aren't a potential anymore. You are just a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've worn worse labels. That's the thing, though, is that, like, again, what it amounts to is can't we all just have a civil discourse about how much I want to violently oppress a specific
that's what it comes to. That's what it comes down to. It's not. I hate to jump into the left-right paradigm, but that's really what this has come to. They don't want middle ground anymore. They want compliance. Period. End of discussion. Right? They don't want to come to a compromise. They don't want to come to an agreement. They don't want to come to anything that you're okay with. They want what they want, and you can fuck off and you can comply or you can die.
Yeah, but that's not that dissimilar from what they've wanted from the word go. It's just they're more open about it now.
Oh, they're saying the quiet parts out loud.
Yeah.
They are screaming at the quiet parts from the rooftops.
Because they can.
Because people don't. So many people have shown that they're willing to just roll over and take it as a result of the COVID pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they feel like they can do now. They can just come right out.
New York City, the mayor of New York City just issued an order, right? A fucking executive order that orders vaccine mandates for private businesses, regardless of how many employers they have. Vaccine mandates for employers. Hold on.
The thing that was just rejected by the Supreme Court.
There is no room in it for negative tests or nothing like that. Like so nope. you couldn't avoid the mandate.
It's
if you had negative
or get
tests.
out.
It's jab or economically die.
Yep.
Get the jab or lose your job. Period.
Yep.
And see, Andrew, you're right. It was just struck down in the courts, but that's because at the federal.
Chicago just recently they had their the bullet tax that was ruled unconstitutional. So they took the bullet tax and they reworded like 2 sentences and revoted on it and repassed it.
Yep.
It's not the same bill. It's a different bill now.
Yep. But what I was getting at
is it went right back into effect.
Oftentimes you'll find that the federal government doesn't have a leg to stand on when it comes to those things in the courts, which, as Anarchy says, the courts are part of the system. So
yes,
they're all fucked anyway. But when it comes to the state level, there are actual ways that they can get away with it. The state and the local level, they can get away with it.
The whole system is fucked, and I'm a potential domestic terrorist, extremist, radical, racist, bigot, sexist, whatever for saying that.
Yeah, because we don't agree with it, or we don't follow their fucking bullshit. Exactly.
If they would like to force me to get a jab, they are welcome to come to my house and attempt.
I gotta put the other patch back on for this.
No, you don't.
Because this one is more appropriate. because I hope that if they do try to come and stick that in my arm, they read this first.
They
10
won't.
bachelors come heavily armed.
Yes. So
I would really hate to take fathers away from their kids. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to be left
make
alone.
widows.
I just want to be left alone. I want to be able to live my
Yeah,
life.
exactly.
I want to be able to make my own decisions. That's it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is they label us as these extremists and these violent people and all of this shit. And all we want is to be left alone. Just leave me alone. All you have to do,
Is
never
stop
hear
trying to
from
control
me
my
again.
life.
To never get death threats and never hear from any of us again is stop being a fucking tyrant and leave me the fuck alone. That's all you have
That's
to
it.
do.
No.
And we're not asking a lot. We're not asking a lot. Leave us alone.
That's it. That's all I want.
That's it.
On that note, let's get out of here. Throw out your plugs. I need to go buy a lottery ticket so I can move out of California and start a compound in Montana with a small gun shop.
Buy Derica's book.
And baby goats. I need baby goats in my life, you guys.
You know, I wouldn't mind some baby goats. I would really like to return to my roots and
A
get some
sheep man. There you go.
Get some sheep.
There you go.
I like sheep. Sheep are nice. They're pretty easy to care for, and they're adorable, especially lambs. You ever see a lamb? Man, lambs are adorable.
They taste delicious. They taste delicious also.
They are delicious.
For goats, Andrew, I have the perfect place to put goats.
Well, I mean, your entire hillside is.
Well, I'm not talking about at my house. I'm talking about down at the farm.
Oh, well.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like inside politicians. That would not be.
No. I've got a perfect spot
rocket
down
propelled
there at the farm.
Just
rocket propelled goats into politicians.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be fun.
A little bit of grease. I mean, not live goats because we want to hurt the goat, but
no, we don't want to hurt the goat. But
just, I mean, turn into a game show.
Make politicians into barns again.
we can turn them into goat sock puppets. It'll be great. It's yeah.
You know, if you're going to do that, though, unfortunately, I would say there would be one condition under which I'd say you'd want to use live goats. And that's if you use the screaming goats.
Well, yeah, if you use the fainting goats, they'd just be like, they're flying through the air.
I mean, you'd still get a scream no matter what. So
you'd just get two screams if you use the screaming goats.
It'd be hilarious.
All right, throw out your plugs. Let's get out of here.
Buy Derica's book.
Buy Derica's book. Linked in the description. Well,
yes,
not yet,
and
I haven't done it, but yeah.
If you want to care for your beard like a Viking, go to thebeardstruggle.com. Use code Anarchist15. Get 15% off of your entire order. And they have amazing scents and amazing beard conditioners, beard shampoos. They have a brand new beard straightener that is super cool, and a bundle price on that for a bunch of stuff. It includes a serum, a heat protector for your beard, all sorts of cool shit. Also, check out our boy at Poppins Patches. Dave makes some amazing stuff that we all love. He and you'll see us wear frequently, right? He's got the NPC ATF.
Oh, the red coat.
The red coat.
That's a nice one. I have it.
This one is fantastic. He makes one of my favorites, the scariest pumpkin for Halloween. It is Joe Biden as Herbert the pervert. He makes all sorts of cool ones. They are absolutely fantastic, and you want to check them out. Again, that is Poppins Patches. He is super cool. Also, make sure you check us out on Odyssey. Make sure you check us out on Rumble. Where else are we?
Out right up here, Boog Boogie. Check out Boog Boogie.
Yes. Boog Boogie on Twitter, Boog Boogie 79. He's got some cool patches as well. And keep coming back to us. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit the little bell so that you get notifications so that you hear about it.
Do the same over on Rumble. Even if you don't want to listen to us over there, just go over there and do that.
fucking AA-12 so I shoot this plane out of the sky.
Hey man, we still have 48 seconds, so before we hit the 2 hours. But yeah, check us out every platform you can. Share with your friends.
Yep.
Tell everybody how awesome we are, so they all start listening to us, and maybe we can make some more anarchists.
Yeah.
And
Super F.
They'll be disappointed, but
Super F again to the boys at Biting the Bullet, losing their Instagram, and we'll catch you again on the next one. Peace.
Peace.